Welcome to Bootstrap. This is a review of some basic HTML and CSS and how we can add on to our simple HTML CSS file and make it a jazzy, super cool, well-designed, responsive website using a JavaScript library called Bootstrap. Over here on the right-hand side, I have a folder on my desktop called Bootstrap. We're looking inside that folder. I have a .html page called index.html. I'm going to open that up here by right-clicking on it, open with Sublime Text, and here is my basic file. I'm going to take out some of this content because we're going to add it in together, slowly but surely, and cool. This is a very basic website, nothing special about it. In Sublime Text, which is what I'm using to edit this file with, you could use TextEdit or Notepad++ or BBEdit, or there's lots of different things. Sublime Text is free. I did pay for my subscription, but you can use it for free. It'll just keep reminding you to pay. It's called shareware. But once I right-click on my index.html, I can do Open in Browser, and that shows you what this page looks like. It is no great shakes. I'm going to try and make it so that we can see multiple things at once. I'm just going to close those up for now. Great. I have the file as it exists on my desktop. I have the files as they're opened up in Sublime Text, and here I have these files in a browser window. So the story is that these are simple text files. We just make sure that we have the proper extension, the proper HTML extension, and that means that this browser window knows how to read or display that file. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and all it is really is a language that tells the browser what the page should look like. I'll add another paragraph tag, dumb, and then I'll close that paragraph tag, whoops, and then I'll save that. I'm just doing Command S, but of course I could have gone to File, Save. And then when I refresh my browser window, it has that in there. So this is the markup language that I can see over here. Cool. There's two parts to HTML. HTML is basically the skeleton. All the content lives in the HTML. But we style or make that HTML page look attractive through the use of these cascading style sheets. Now, in the intro class, you learned about how the cascade works. Basically, there's an inline style sheet, there's a document level style sheet, and there's an external style sheet. And the cascade is that you can pull on the external style sheet, but the document level style sheet will overwrite the external one. And then you can have document level style sheet, but if you have an inline style sheet, that will override both document level and external. I don't like to use inline or document level style sheets. It just is hard to keep organized. I just like to have everything in an external style sheet. I'm going to go ahead and open that up with Sublime Text. And we can see what that looks like. It is, I'm going to clean up this stuff. Right now it has not very much information. It's just a different background color. I'm going to pull this tab over here, or am I? Maybe not. I sure wish I could. Whoop, whatever. That's not cool. Anywho, how do I attach this style sheet or draw this style sheet into my HTML file? What I need to do is inside of this open and close header tag, I need to say, hey, go ahead and link that external document. Here's the hypertext reference, by the way. The hypertext reference is the name of the style sheet. So I have it, style sheet.css. Now, I could call this styles.css. I could call it style sheet with a capital S in style and a capital S in sheet. I could call it hot dog. I could call it popcorn. Whatever I name it here, I need to hypertext reference here. But I also need to tell the HTML what kind of relationship the file that I'm pulling in has to the HTML file. And the relationship is that one of a style sheet. Just a heads up, this rel style sheet has nothing to do with the name of the style sheet. And if you type in anything other than rel equals style sheet when you try to pull it in the style sheet, it will cause a lot of problems. Let's see if that works. I'm going to hit refresh. Okay, great. So I have my background color getting pulled in. Let's go to my HTML page. I'm sorry, let's go to my CSS page, which I can't, why is this doesn't this feel, okay, great, I was just being dumb. Let's add a couple things. Maybe we'd like to change the paragraph, the color of the text in the paragraph. I'm going to make it, let's see, actually, maybe I'll open up an HTML, a color picker, hexadecimal. I think it's hexa, not hexy. HTML color picker. Maybe I'll make the color lighter pink. Cool. I'm going to copy that and I'll go here. So this, I need to put a hash mark in front of it. The P stands for the paragraph tag here that I'm talking to. And color means what's your type color. So I've saved that. It's automatically getting pulled into my HTML page. Let's see if that worked. Yeah, that did work. I mean, it doesn't look good, but it worked. Now you might say, hey, why didn't it change all of the type on this page? Well, that's because this is an H1 tag. And maybe I want to do something different with my H1 tag. Let's see, I could change the, oops, I'm sorry, I need curly braces, not brackets. So with my H1 tag, I could do a color. I think I'll do white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I think I'm going to use, I think that's good enough. Let's go. So I saved it. Again, it's automatically getting pulled in. Great. Perfect. That's just what I want. This is my Bootstrap package. Cool. Okay, great. I also have in my folder, I have my HTML, my style sheet. I have an image here. I'm going to pull this image in. Image source equals Uncle Paul JPEG. And one interesting thing is, like, we see we have an opening paragraph tag and a closing paragraph tag. The image tag is really old, back when the HTML was kind of the wild, wild west, so it doesn't have a closing tag in the same way as our paragraph tag does. Instead, what we do is we do a self-closing tag. Yeah, I did purchase a license, Sublime Text. Maybe I didn't. I need to sign in. Great, and so now my AWOL uncle's picture comes up. Great, some basic HTML. There's one more thing I wanted to show you here, and that is I have a JavaScript file that I'm going to open with Sublime Text. Now, JavaScript is completely different from HTML and CSS. JavaScript is really a programming language, and in this case, I want a pop-up window to appear when I refresh my HTML page. So what I need to do is I need to pull that JavaScript in. Now, I used the link tag for my style sheet, and here I want to say there's a script tag. Sublime Text is really nice because it filled in a lot of this information for me. Again, that's source equals basic javascript.js. So there's my basic JavaScript file. script type source, and then a closing script tag. I'm going to hit refresh, and this JavaScript, what it says is window alert, hello world, hello world. When I hit OK, then it proceeds to my page. So if I make a change here, wait, is that your uncle? Oh my God. I hit refresh. Wait, is that your uncle? Yes, it's my Uncle Paul. Cool. So in here we have files sitting next, so in my folder I have files sitting next to one another, and then I'm pulling those files in through code. This is essentially how Bootstrap works, except for in our case, we're not going to have the JavaScript sitting right next to the HTML. Just so you know, you could do that. I like to pull my Bootstrap JavaScript from a file that lives online. The reason I like to do that is if someone makes updates to the Bootstrap library, I don't need to update my local file because I'm already accessing Bootstrap as it exists out on the internet. Now, I don't have the link memorized or the script memorized, which is perfectly fine because those exist on the internet. So what I might want to say here is pull in Bootstrap library. And I often like to go to W3 Schools. I think it makes a lot of sense. Here it tells us something about Bootstrap. It's a free front-end framework for faster and easier web development. It has, Bootstrap not only has JavaScript, but it does have HTML and CSS-based design templates. And it gives you the ability to create responsive designs. And here's some examples of how you might use it, and we're going to look at that and why use Bootstrap and why to get it. You can download it, or you can use it from a content delivery network, which is, again, my preference. You could type these in, but the chances of introducing an error are high. So I would just say copy this and put it into your document. Now, heads up, I just read that Bootstrap has a JavaScript library. Yep, there it is. Multiple JavaScript libraries, but it also has its own style sheet. And you can totally have multiple style sheets in your document. In this case, though, I can access the Bootstrap style sheet, which is cool, but I might have specific things that I want particular to my document. So in that case, what I need to do is I need to make sure that my own style sheet comes after the Bootstrap style sheet. Meaning, just like that cascade that I was just talking about, where it's external style sheet and then an in document and an inline, the same thing can happen here. If you have multiple style sheets, the one that's the most closest or the last in the list and that's the most closest to the body of your document will override any earlier ones. I like this because the Bootstrap CSS library is huge, and then I can make little tweaks to it.